Hey everyone. So I think a lot of us in the community can feel the intensity that's building right now and some of the confrontational events that are arising, the intel that is alluding to deeper, more intense confrontations as people are brought out into the open and held accountable. So I wanted to offer a few words to gather the power of this community because it's a really crucial time when we know that things this intense and frankly this violent are going to be occurring. Someone being brought out into the open and held accountable for really dark things is a very painful, violent process. Emotionally, it's very violent. There's lots of trauma involved in, kicking in doors, arresting people, outing them publicly, the operations that have to occur for this. There's some unavoidable violence that's going to occur. So I just wanted to say that attracting full disclosure goes beyond justice in terms of arrests and holding people publicly accountable. There's a level of release that will not come for this planet until the process of forgiving these human beings begins to generate, at least in waves, across the planet. So just even with small groups like this community beginning to generate these waves of forgiveness for these beings. And some people in the community may not feel ready to do this, and that's okay too. But many of you are already there. Your hearts are ready. Your vengeance is dissolved. Remember that humanity is, as a collective, in its heart, very innocent and immature. And so understand that this innocence and this immaturity, subjected to generations of ritualistic trauma, deep manipulations and confusion, that has manifested as the wounded beings we're watching being outed right now. So they're playing the role that was needed. And yes, that role is ending. So the question to our community right now is, how softly, how lovingly can we bring their role to an end and move into a different era that holds space for the immense healing work that has to be done? And a lot of that healing work can't be done until at least some of us begin the process of forgiving members of the cabal and those that are clearly responsible for some very dark things. So with some of this violence and conflict that is necessarily occurring, we can, instead of reveling in the satisfaction of righteousness or the feeling of getting back at our manipulators and our abusers, we can hold a space in our hearts for the most peaceful version of these events to unfold. So in thinking about manifesting the optimal timeline, these are crucial moments. These are choice moments where we get together and attract the most peaceful version of these events, where there is going to be violence. And so how can we soften this? How can we get this community together today and in the days to come for this? If you think in terms of, the blue spheres arriving and buffering the intense energies in this solar system in support of humanity, then we can see that they're fading from this solar space is also us stepping into that role. We are the buffers of the intensity that is arriving. If this video is arriving within your experience, then it is within your heart to bring peace to this transition. That's why it's arrived in your sphere of experience. This is a large enough community of people. Those of us that are following the narrative unfolding beneath the scenes, that our capacity to affect the peaceful nature of this outcome is immense. So I just want to ask, for those of you that feel ready, if you could each take time as often as possible in the coming days to become inwardly quiet and to send the feeling of loving support to those whom most would say deserve it the least. let's bring balance back to this planet now. Let's move beyond the duality that has confused us for so long and live the oneness that we seek, the oneness that we talk about so often. So lots of love to everyone out there, and find that quiet, loving space for those people who are going to need it. Thanks.